All right, hello everyone. This is Nancy Rebecca with Intuitive Mind again, and this is part two of the topic, the COVID-19 virus and the human energy field. And in part one, I talk a little bit about kind of, how I see the virus coming to the earth, and when it gets to the energy field, how I see it kind of move in, and its purpose is about kind of expanding our heart chakra. And I see the virus is blue, and so I'm wearing blue today. And that it is a healing energy, that it has an energy, it has a frequency to it. Now, I've, as a clairvoyant, as seeing energy fields and seeing the spirit world at the same time, I see the physical world. I've seen lots of different things over 25 years since my out-of-body experience, and have known that a change is coming, this kind of awakening in the world. And in the year 2003, I had Spirit wanted me to write a book. And so I sat down and started kind of writing some information that was coming through. And at that time, when the information was coming through, it was like, millions of people are going to be waking up on the earth, and then suddenly they're going to be conscious, they're going to be aware of their abilities, and they're going to remember that they are a spirit having a human experience, that you are more than your physical body. And so I probably got up through probably chapter 4, and it sounded so kind of fantastical that I just kind of closed my notebook and I didn't write anymore. Now, I definitely have written little bits here and there, and have been able to get information about just kind of hearing from the spirit world. Big changes are happening, and I could sense and feel vibrational shifts that would happen maybe once or twice a year. This is 25 years ago, and then it was every few months, and then it was once a month, and then in the last 6 months, really sensing the shifts happening every couple of weeks. But I'll tell you, when the coronavirus came in and we started going through this global pandemic where everybody in the world is sheltering in place, at whatever level you're being guided to by the rules of your own country, that vibrationally the shifts have started coming every 4 to sometimes every 2 hours. So it's like you just kind of catch this wave, and then it's like another wave is coming in. It's like you can hardly catch your breath. And the analogy that I've used is almost like a woman in labor who, when a woman is pregnant, there will be these kind of contractions as the body is getting ready, kind of practice mode before the big day of the baby arriving. But as the labor intensifies on delivery day, then it's just, the mother just can't even catch her breath before the contractions are happening faster and faster and faster. So I kind of look at it this way, that vibrationally, there's just a lot of shifts happening. We can't even hardly catch our breath. But what I see is that there's a big change that's happening on the earth. There's a big healing happening on the earth, and our earth really needs it right now. I mean, it doesn't, we all know on some level, if we tap in, we know that the earth has been out of balance for a long time, and as humans, yeah, we could do a lot more to help with our forests and our waters, and with the oil drilling that can cause earthquakes. I've always seen the oil as like the synovial fluid in the joints. It helps our joints run smoothly. So I've always kind of seen oil as kind of lubricating the joints or the tectonic plates of the earth. But I'm kind of getting off track, so I'm going to go back to the coronavirus. So we know that we need the healing right now. And in the indigenous cultures all over the world, and Greg Braden is a really great author. He's got a couple of books and I think I read them like 20 years ago, But he talks about, walking between worlds, or the Isaiah effect is another really good one. But where he went out and he interviewed a lot of indigenous people, and they talk about this time that was coming as a time of no time. And so there's been prophecy around that, as well. And so when Spirit was kind of explaining to me, it's like this virus is almost like the Great Flood, that it's just that we can't see it. And that really makes it difficult for us, doesn't it? That, there's this kind of invisible force that is impacting our whole world. So when I'm talking about vibration and frequency, it's almost like if you think of an AM radio station, it's going to have more of a local spread. The radio is going to be more local. If you go from one city to the next, you're not going to be able to pick up the AM radio station in the city that you're living in, because it's not far reaching. And radio waves are invisible, but it can carry sound and music and talk radio and things like that. And then we have FM radio, which goes a little further and has the capacity to be in stereo. So we know that FM radio has a little more broadband than AM radio. And then we have HD, high definition. We have Wi-Fi. We have 4G, and we hear a lot talk about 5G. So these are all really high frequencies that can impact the human energy field. But what I know about this is, as our physical body vibration goes up, we are less impacted by those higher frequencies. But right now, as the coronavirus is coming in, the way that I am experiencing this virus that's impacting the earth, it's a very, 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 very high frequency. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the symptoms that I'm noticing, or the patterns that I'm noticing. And number one is ringing in the ears. Ringing in the ears is, yes, some people can hear Wi-Fi signal. They can hear if a building has a lot of Wi-Fi in it, they can actually hear a high-pitched ringing. But this is even higher than that, and it can be even louder than that. So we can actually hear the frequency of the vibration of the earth that's going up, and also we can feel that frequency around it. So we can hear it as a high-pitched ringing. But when the spirit world or spirits are trying to communicate to us, that can also be at a high frequency, where suddenly it's just like wing, and it's just like, whoa, I just heard this high-pitched shrill in my ear. It's usually a spirit that's wanting to come in and it's trying to communicate with you. So there's a couple of things going on there, and I'll go through the other symptoms. But ringing in the ears is one of the symptoms that a lot of people are noticing right now. And if you've had ringing in the ears in the past, it's even more frequent now. And I have my list that I'm going to look at, so you'll see me looking down at that. Time warp is the next symptom that I'm noticing a lot, that a lot of people are experiencing. I know I definitely am experiencing it. So I'll give you two examples. One example was that I was looking at the clock. It was 10:25. I decided to go washing the dishes, put them in the rack, dry them. I'm putting them away. No, I don't have a dishwasher. And when I went to look at the clock, it was still 10:25. So I checked the clock to see if the battery had maybe died or if something was wrong. I was looking to see if the hands were stuck. So even though I am clairvoyant, psychic, spiritual, I still am going to look for logical reasons, because I'm really a practical person by nature. And everything was fine with the clock. Well, this has happened several times now, so I'm just like, all right, that's the time warp thing that's happening. But the other thing on the other end of it is where time really speeds up, where it's 9 o'clock in the morning and you're thinking about having breakfast, but you're going to go shower really quickly, and then you get dressed, and then next thing you know, it's like, how is it 3 o'clock in the afternoon? So it's like time can really speed up. So I'm talking about time warp, where it really seems to slow down or stop, and it really seems to speed up really quickly. This week's been one of those weeks for me where I felt like it was going much quicker. Visual distortion. So what I've been hearing a lot is, I'm going to talk about, like on a camera, those fisheye lens, where it can kind of look like a magnifying glass, where it has that kind of rounded part to it, where what's in the center is really magnified and everything around it is blurred. So I'm experiencing that. I'm also seeing more spirits. I'm talking to other people who never believed in that stuff, and they're like, okay, I'm seeing like people move, and I go to look and there's nobody there. So it's very common that that if a spirit's going to come in, so a spirit guide, a guardian, one of your loved ones that wants to visit, a lot of times you'll see them off to the side, but when you try to look at them directly, they seem to disappear, but they don't actually disappear. It's just that your side vision is more like a daydreamy type vision. Anyway, so I'm noticing this kind of distorted imaging, when I'm looking at things. The other thing is things seem to be disappearing and reappearing again. So the example I give is your hairbrush on the dresser. You want to go clip your nails, you go get the nail clipper, you come back, the dresser, the hairbrush is now missing. And you're like, okay, what did I do with it? It was just there. You might go to see, all right, I walked through the living room. Did I carry it with me? But then you come back to the bedroom and now the hairbrush is there. So, there's this sense of like dimensional shifts. It's like we here on Earth are at the third dimension and we're moving through the fourth dimension up to the fifth dimension. So yeah, some things seem to kind of disappear and reappear. So I'm hearing a lot of people kind of talking about that, and being able to see the spirit realm, that is enhancing as well. Also colors, people are seeing a lot of colors, or even seeing it's like waves, like you're seeing the energy move, like you see waves of energy move, and those aren't normal things that we normally see. But I'm noticing a pattern with a lot of people as the frequency goes up on the earth. They're noticing a lot of visual things. Physical pain. Lots of people are complaining about, wow, their body hurts, their body feels sore, their joints are sore. Remember in the first video, I talked about a healing crisis. So when you have had too much healing or your vibrations going up really quickly, your body kind of needs to run to catch up, because your body is made of energy, so it needs to expand. And so then out of the muscles, you can be releasing old energy that can cause you to feel sore, almost like lactic acid after you've had a good run or an exercise or walk and you feel sore the next day. It's kind of like that. So lots of people are noticing body pain, and that can be another symptom. Now, all of these things I'm going to mention can be because of a vibrational change, but it can be a real health issue as well. So always go check with your doctor if something persists. Let's see. Oh, itching skin. That's another related to detoxing. So when you leave your body at night, your spirit goes into the dream world. They call it the astral plane. That's where your liver says, all right, shift, it's time for me to go to work. And when your spirit is in the dream world, your body goes into a really deep, deep sleep. And then the liver kicks in and starts detoxifying your energy field. Naturally, when the vibration goes up, you are going to detox energies that are of a denser frequency. So yeah, itching skin can be a sign that you are detoxing. Lots of water is going to help with that. Dry eyes. So I'm noticing that there's a lot changing around your sixth chakra. People are becoming much more intuitive, their psychic abilities, maybe mediumship abilities, being able to kind of sense and know things, or you feel things, or you see things. So definitely, if we're waking up as a global community, well, all of us have intuitive psychic ability. And so as you're in that waking up process, yesterday you may have just been a muggle and all of a sudden you're a wizard. And so it can happen that fast. It happened that fast for me for sure, but it still doesn't mean I knew what the heck I was doing. It was terrifying. I didn't know. Nobody had ever told me these things. So fortunately, I found a teacher, and I'll suggest the same for you all as well. But enhanced ability, the sixth chakra is starting to shift. It's starting to adjust. Our eyes, our visual cortex is there. The optical nerves are there. And so our eyes are adjusting, and dry eyes is a pattern that I'm seeing. Stomach problems. This has been another big one. It seems to have settled a little bit more this week. But over the past 4 weeks, I have been hearing a lot of people talking about really kind of a lot of gassiness, belching and passing gas, stomach just rumbling and rumbling. Diarrhea's been a big thing. Sorry, I'm a nurse. I talk about these things. But when I mention that diarrhea is one of those high symptoms, I hear people say, oh my gosh, I had no idea, because we're all private. We're not going to talk about our bathroom habits to the average person. But what happens is when we have diarrhea and we're releasing a lot, it's because we're releasing so much so fast that our body responds to that. And so, again, it's another level of detoxing. But it seems to have settled out a little bit this week, so I hope that that's the case. Dehydrates easily. So remember, I was talking about all these I've talked about. We're detoxing. When you're detoxing, even after you have a good massage, you want to drink a lot of fluids afterwards, because you're releasing a lot of energy out of the muscles. So try to definitely drink 8 glasses of water a day. What is that, the standard medical model? But you can definitely drink up to 12 glasses of water a day. Now, I think that you can get kind of water toxic if you drink gallons of water, so be reasonable, but definitely drink more water than you have been. And drink things that are hydrating, not like sodas and that kind of stuff, but definitely you can have green tea, or you can have, non-caffeinated tea. I definitely love my coffee, but it dehydrates you, so I make sure and drink extra water to make up for that. All right, sleep. In the beginning, about 8 weeks ago, nobody was sleeping. A lot of people were having, and I won't say nobody was sleeping, but insomnia was the pattern I was seeing at that time. People were complaining about not sleeping very much. Then in the last kind of 4 to 6 weeks, a lot of people were sleeping a lot and taking naps. When I work in South Africa with the indigenous Sangomas there, they believe that when you get sleepy, you must go to sleep, because your spirit needs to leave the body so that your spirit guides, healing guides can help you rapidly to heal the body while the spirit's floating above. But let's just talk about it at the human level. Again, it's an opportunity for your body to heal while you're sleeping. So a lot of people have been sleeping a lot and taking naps. But again, I started seeing that kind of change the past few days. Feeling a call to nature. And it's almost an overwhelming pull that a lot of people are having to get out in nature. Nature is in a balanced state. If it's not in a balanced state, it is going to do what it needs to do it always wants to return to a balanced state. So if you're walking in the forest and your energy field's out of balance, the energy of the trees and the rocks and the plants and the soil, the leaves, the wind, all of that's going to shift and adjust to help bring you into balance. So again, it's another level of helping you to heal. So if you're feeling that pull to get out in nature, there's a reason for it. So a lot of people are feeling that pull. Dreams, I probably should have included this with the sleep. Dreams. Now, because I see energy, and because I can see the spirit world at the same time I see the physical world, when I go out at night, I'm out. And I asked Spirit once, how come I don't have dreams? I have dream envy of people who have a lot of great dreams. And Spirit said, your visual world, Nancy, is so strong during the day, we give you a break at night. But I will tell you that my dream recall is going up. And I'm hearing this from a lot of people, and then people who normally dream a lot, their dreams are pretty amazing. So I'm going to ask you, please, please, please write it in a journal, because these are quite historical times as well as quite prophetic times. You know, if this is predicted by the indigenous cultures as the time of no time, meaning that they could prophesize and visualize for thousands of years ahead of time, but all of a sudden they got to this point in our development as a world culture and they can't see anything. This is a great prophetic time and a great dream time too. That's how sometimes our spirit communicates to us, is through our dreams, and definitely our spirit guides communicate through dreams. Start writing your dreams down. Dream recall is enhancing because our solar plexus is opening. So if you listen to the solar plexus video, that's where I talk about when the solar plexus opens, more of our spirit comes down to illuminate our divine power. But we have our dream recall is stored as well in the third chakra. I was talking about intuition and psychic ability is enhancing. Telepathy, mental telepathy is where you have a thought and it travels across a grid. We have energetic lines, I call it a grid, that goes from one person to the other. So you have a thought. It's like an invisible telephone line. It travels across and the other person can pick up on the thought. And that's mental telepathy. And I am seeing that our telepathic communication is enhancing as well as the vibration goes up. So remember, I talked about the AM radio might not be able to do it at the AM frequency, but at the HD high definition, you can see a lot more depth to the world and we can hear a lot more depth. So mental telepathy, you don't hear it in the ears, but you hear it in the head. So if you think about a trumpet playing, do you hear that in your ear? Or if you're imagining a trumpet, do you hear it in your head? So that's telepathy. You're going to hear it in your head. So that's, prophecy. I've been talking about that. I've never really considered myself one that has prophetic ability. I think I might have to start changing that. So prophecy is where you can tell what's going to happen in the future. When 9/11 happened and the Twin Towers went down, about 10 days before that, I got really sick and I had to kind of go to bed, and I felt horrible. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I had body pain, but every time I closed my eyes, I could see bombs, tanks, grenades, machine guns. And it was like my body was just racked with pain from like violent type energy. And even my own 16-year-old daughter had painted a painting about 5 days before 9/11 happened. And she painted a city skies line that looks like New York, and then she painted a figure crying or grieving, like there's loss. Of course, at the time when I was like, oh my God, you painted this 5 days before, she was like, it's no big deal, it's just a painting. But that's why I'm saying these times you might think, no big deal, just a painting, but it may have prophetic consequences down the way. Now, I do have a dear friend, grandfather, who is an indigenous medicine man, and I remember I was worried about something once. I was having a lot of visions about something in particular, and he said, granddaughter, you might be having visions that aren't supposed to happen for several more lifetimes, so give yourself a break. Don't feel the pressure of that. So sometimes you can have prophetic ability. Like, I can't remember Nostradamus, who had a lot of prophetic ability about things that are happening. So sometimes you'll get information and that's not going to happen for a long time. But anyway, prophecy, I'm noticing with the clients that I'm working with, a lot of them are having a lot more prophetic ability coming, and it's kind of frightens them a little bit. But I say, well, you don't have to tell anybody about it. You can write a journal, write it in a calendar if you think something's going to happen. It can be put on your curiosity hat and just play with it a little bit to see. And then when the date comes up, it's like, all right, either it happened or it didn't happen. But you'll get a sense if you can trust it, trust the information that's coming through intuitively and psychically for you. Spirit guides, I've talked about that. We all, based on my experience of working with people, I usually see an average of about 5 guides per person. And depending on what you do, like I work as a healer, so I have a few more guides than that. So, but people are starting to see the spirit world. They're feeling kind of these protective guardians, healing guides, spirit guides around. It's almost like they're just moving in a little closer so that we feel more stable, because it is a very unstable time on our earth right now. So don't be surprised if you are feeling your spirit guides around. The other thing is star beings, celestial beings. So it's not that I didn't really believe in beings, star beings, celestial beings coming from another planet or extraterrestrials, or it just wasn't my thing. Like it just wasn't my lane. It wasn't my path. But a couple of years ago, there were star beings that are blue that started coming through, and I describe them as almost looking like in the Avatar movie. They kind of looked like that, and it was quite startling to me. I'd never seen them before. So what I'm noticing now, I'm noticing them more and more people are experiencing them and talking about them, and where the reality 20 years ago didn't seem like that was even possible, and now it's becoming more mainstream. So some of you might have a connection with the stars and the galaxies, and that might start feeling stronger for you as well. This kind of last thing I want to see is there's a global emotional wave that goes. It's almost like everybody on the earth can feel the same thing at the same time. So in the beginning, it was fear. We felt a lot of fear, uncertainty, anxiety. And then about 3 weeks ago, I was telling people, I'm hearing a wave of rage heading my way. Heading our way is what I said. And I said it sounded like a train. Off in the distance, you can hear the whistle blowing. And then as the whistle blows again, you can tell that it's a little closer and a little closer. So about 3 weeks, I could hear this I just said it was a wall of rage. So just because I can pick up on that and I know the rage is coming or the anger is coming, it does not mean that I know what it's going to translate like at the human physical level. But we've all seen it now in the past 10 days where there's been protests, lots of protests. People are angry. They're like, you can't tell me what to do, and I'm not going to wear my mask, and I'll go where I want to, or I'll open my business. Or people are staying home and they're sheltering in place and they're listening to what they're being suggested to do, but they're just pissed. You're just pissed. So I want to talk about that anger for just a second more, and then we'll be finished up. But anger is an energy, and it's a red energy, and it's meant to be healing. It's meant like lava, like red lava. It'll kind of burn off toxins or stuck energy, like frustration. You feel frustrated, so red comes through to help dissolve the frustration, so we can go back to a calm, balanced, harmonious state. But we're not taught as a society about anger and how to work with it, and we think we need to blame somebody for it. If we're feeling angry, I call it the guided missile, or the shark that can smell blood in the water, and then it moves towards the blood. It's like, okay, dinner's here. And so sometimes we will look, to blame our husband or our wife or our kids or our friends or the government or our boss or whatever. So I'm going to encourage you, you can listen to one of my guided meditations or somebody else's, but imagine that red just flowing through your body. Let it flow through the chakras and let the red just keep flowing. Let it flow up, 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 up through your head and out the top of your head, and let that red just wash, whatever that energy is that's triggering your anger. Allow it to wash and cleanse and heal your aura. I see that the blue light is also a healer. The blue light is cleansing illusion so that we can get to the truth. And wow, are we noticing a lot of walls of illusion are dropping away, and we're seeing the truth about a lot of things. But it is a challenge to know what's real truth and what's fake truth. And that you just have to kind of trust your own instincts. I don't always have a clear answer as well, so I just meditate. I just tune in, ask my spirit, do I need to do anything with this information? So that was a lot of information about some of the symptoms of your vibration raising. And I see it as the COVID energy of blue that is helping to raise the frequency. I see us as in a healing scenario right now. So I invite you to please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed before, you just click the subscribe button, and then the bell, and then you'll be notified when I release another video. But you can also visit my website at intuitivemind.org. If you want to be on my mailing list, you just sign in the box at the top, and you'll get a 9-page questionnaire about so you can kind of figure out what your own intuitive style is. And I'll be making more videos about that later. I also have a blog, so you can follow the blog. And then if you look under products, I have a lot of free meditations there that you can listen to as well. And then my Facebook page, I have Intuitive Mind is the name of my business Facebook page. And I do every Thursday morning Pacific Standard Time, I do a live talk on the Intuitive Mind page, Facebook Live. That's a lot of information. Anyway, as always, I'm really grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the caring and the kind comments that you share with me, and that you have a desire to spread with the world. We really need it right now. So thanks again, and I look forward to reading your comments below. All right, take care, everyone.